We are going to present today and we are going to talk about sustainable business models. Let me tell you that we are both part of this project from the Athens University of Economics and Business. I'm an associate professor there, and Konstantinos is a professor at the University of Piraeus, another Greek university. So our aim today is to talk about how the business models that you're following can be more sustainable and add to more value in your field, in your industry. So based on that, let me quickly run through the agenda and then we can start with introductions. So first we will have the introductions whereby we would like for you to briefly state what you're doing so that everybody can know. And then we will have some presentation on business model fundamentals. So basically, what are business models? How do they work? Why they are important? And then we're going to analyze a bit about business models and sustainability. So how principles of sustainability impact your business model, but also how you can have a more successful business model in this environment that you're currently in, and how you can make your business model more sustainable. Then we're going to have a round table whereby you're going to present your business model based on the analysis and the framework that we have presented. And based on that, we're going to have hopefully a nice exchange of best practices and ideas in order to be able to make your business model more effective and more sustainable.
So I will do a very short introduction about the business model fundamentals. What is a business model and how business model connects with firms' competitive strategy and competitive advantage. These are concepts that apply practically across all industries, B2C, B2B, C2C, services or products, of course, with the appropriate adaptation. So business model, if I may say, lies at the heart of a successful business level strategy, kind of bridges the firm's objectives, understanding and analysis of the competitive environment and the key resources and capabilities that the firm possesses. So it works as the basic vehicle of translating the external environment with an understanding of the external environment into concrete success, into a firm's competitive advantage. So to put it differently, it works as a tool to generate strategic fit, a consistency between what happens internally in terms of goals, values, missions, tangible, intangible resources, organizing principles, systems, and so forth, and what happens externally. So kind of creates this consistency. And the first step in designing a business model, it is this very famous strategy tool, the SWOT analysis, with the first two dimensions, strengths and weaknesses, linking to its to a firm internal environment, resources, capabilities, and opportunities, and threats that relate with the firm's external environment. Now, the ultimate goal of any business model is to generate sustainable benefits, sustainable advantages that endure competitive attacks. So that's the first interpretation of what sustainability might mean. And the other interpretation is to produce benefits that have an economic, but also both social and environmental positive effects. And the way to do that is actually twofold. So the business model creates competitive advantage in terms of cost. So we perform activities more efficiently with a more lean cost structure that we hope to lead into a cheaper price in the market. or we do things that our competitors do not perform, do not offer in the market. So we follow a differentiation strategy. And for this differentiation, for these unique characteristics, novelty, increased quality, better customer service, we command a premium price. And we do that by targeting the market and segmenting the market in a different manner. So option number one would be to target our business model a broader scope, so the mass market, so the whole market, either B2B or B2C, or to focus on a market niche, so select a specific segment in terms of age, spending power, geographical distribution, or whatever, and tailor our business model logic, our strategic goals into this specific market niche. So the whole range of potential competitive strategies. So we start from the upper right box, where we have the cost leadership that we target at the broad market or differentiation, so a unique value perceived by our customer. The same combination can also happen if we target a market niche, a narrow market, so a focused cost leadership or a focused differentiation strategy. And there are rare cases where a firm can do both. So can offer a cheap product, but at the same time a highly differentiated product that can take two different, let's say, forms. The first form is to follow a strategy called value for money, so a balance between price and quality, price and novelty, price and differentiation, or a hybrid best cost strategy where we have very low price and high differentiation. Now, all this, of course, lead to profit. Any private company's goal is to generate more revenues, more sales, and at the end of the day, profit. In order to generate profit, business model comes in with a specific value in terms of a customer value proposition, a value proposition that tries to increase the value offered into the customer, value both tangible and intangible, brand name, status, customer service, and so forth, at the price considered by the customer a good market offering. So the greater the value and the lower the price we offer in the market, the more attractive our market offering, our value proposition is to the customer. Now, this profit formula that any business model is based upon has three main elements. The first is the value, as mentioned already, has a tangible and intangible dimension, and the other two elements is price and cost. So the greater the value, what we try to do is to increase the value, command a fair price, and lower the cost. So the higher the value, the lower the price, and the lower our cost structure, the greater the business model to generate income and money. So this background leads us to the business model framework.
So let me take over and discuss about that. But before we start with that, let me go one step back into what we will be doing after we finish with this short presentation. So what Konstantinos described in essence is that we can have two possible business strategies. One is cost leadership, the other is differentiation. So basically, you can say that, for example, let's take John's example from repurposing banners and other materials. Am I in this field doing it cheaper than other organizations are doing it? Or am I doing it better or in some other way in which it makes me, let's say, differentiated than other organizations that are doing the same thing? And you will have to respond to these questions later on and to try and see how we can make your business model more successful. So am I following a cost leadership strategy or a differentiation strategy? And am I targeting a narrow audience, a narrow segment in the market? So, for example, John mentioned about museums. Am I focusing on a particular segment in the market, or am I broad in the sense that anywhere where I can repurpose these materials, I am going to look for these customers? Apart from these two main things that Konstantinos mentioned about, now we move to our business model that, as Konstantinos said, is going to give us the value in our value proposition. So here we look at another three things that we would like to discuss with you later on. So first of all, what activities am I following which yield some type of competitive advantage? So all the activities that may have to do with product design, with supply chain management, with quality management or marketing, what are the main activities that are the most important in my organization? Another important thing that you have to think about is how are my main stakeholders helping me in achieve my competitive advantage? So who are these stakeholders? Who are the main stakeholders? Is it, for example, a critical supplier who supplies me with the materials that I need in order to be able to repurchase them? Repurpose them. Is it, for example, some type of customer that I'm doing most of my business with? So who are my critical stakeholders who are yielding this competitive advantage for me? And finally, how are my offerings to customers giving value? So what are the resources that I am using, or what are the competencies that I'm using which make my offering different? Is it, for example, that I have the knowledge to do it better than others in the market know how to do it? Is it that I have some important resources, for example, equipment or some critical people that other organizations do not have? So these are the questions that we will have to answer in terms of what your value proposition is based on your business model. In terms of what, in terms of how, and in terms of who, which actually will yield a better advantage for your organization. And in closing with how this business model fits in to the outcomes and to the environment that we are currently operating in, uh, topics and aspects of the ESG context frame what your business model is going to be. So the fact that there is some need for circularity or some environmental resource limits and things like that frame, let's say, the environmental context in which your business operates in. Also social aspects and governance aspects such as ethics, such as accountability and things like that. All these, they define the constraints, but also the opportunities that you are trying to grasp in order to make your business model more successful. And based on the business model that you're going to have, this business model is going to result in some strategic outcomes. This could be resilience. So in case, for example, there is a lot of discussion about regulation and the fact that, many companies are wasting, are producing a lot of waste. So organizations that are more sustainable will have less regulations or will have an advantage in terms of this. It could be legitimacy. So we gain trust from our customers. We're able to acquire talent because people want to work in organizations that are in fact sustainable. It could be also investment potential. So a good business model could result in a more credible growth story and in a more investment-oriented company, a one in which investors would like to invest in. Or finally, it could result in some type of sustainable advantage, like a constant innovation or efficiency in terms of the end result or some better economic results. So basically, sustainability is the principal driver for a better business model and for more impactful and sustained strategic outcomes. So this was basically an overall analysis of what different strategies are, so a cost leadership or a differentiation strategy. And this was a main analysis of what we look at in terms of the business model. And what we would like to do now is we would like to have a bit of discussion with you in terms of this. So basically, anyone who would like to provide some information on their type of competitive advantage. So do they aim to have a cost leadership or a differentiation strategy? So do they aim to do this? So there are many organizations that are doing this, but we are currently the ones that are doing it in a cheaper form. Or differentiation. There are some organizations that may be doing this, but we do it in some aspect differently than the others. And also to discuss a bit about what your scope is. Is it broad? So would you like to target the whole market, or do you target a specific niche in the market? So basically your business model is narrow. So let's start with this, and I don't know who would like to give us some information on that in order to go then to the business model framework and analyze a bit more about how you create value.